Welcome to the Talk That Talk podcast with the Charlotte Gang Show. Today, I am honored to bring you Lisa Smith, the incomparable, the all-knowing. I said all-knowing. You are all-knowing. You are absolutely amazing, standing 10 toes down, public figure saying, here I am, listen to what I got to say because every word that I speak is going to help you out. So thank you so much.
It's my
Thank
pleasure.
you. So I did some homework. So I got questions. I'm ready.
Charlie, that might be a first. I've never had nobody show up to an interview with 2 pages of notes on me.
Oh, we here.
On me.
We here.
Okay, let me settle in. Let me get comfortable then. Okay, let's get it.
Oh, yes,
Let's
sir.
get it.
Yeah, we here. So to everyone in my community, everyone that's meeting you for the first time, who is Lisa and what is it that you do with operating in our community?
Yeah, for sure. Just a human doing, right? So I've decided to elevate from just a human being to a human doing and living on assignment, just every single day making sure that I'm honoring the assignment that God has given me. And for me, that assignment is extending the healthy life expectancy for people of color. So it's really, I run a coaching company, the Black Health Academy. We have 3 coaching programs, all designed to extend the healthy life expectancy for people of color. So not just the life expectancy, how long we're going to live, but how long are we going to live healthy, right? And so we do that in the plant-based space. I'm a plant-based health and business coach. So I prioritize plant-based living, and I'm a plant-based vegan myself. And since 2015, I've been in the health and wellness space, running my business, helping people adopt a whole food plant-based lifestyle. And then in 2021, I made Black history, I made women's history by creating the first plant-based coaching certification to be founded by a person of color and by a woman of color. And so I'm really proud of that. And I'm really on a mission to make sure that we, our people, are well informed enough to be our own health advocates, to make sure we understand the importance of optimizing our health and not just being alive. Some of us just hang our hat on the fact that we are alive and think that's good enough, but it's not enough to be alive, but you really have to be optimal if you want to execute on the assignment that God gave you. And that's what I do. That's what I do personally. That's the life that I live personally. And that's what I help other people to achieve. And so I'm just in love with my work and excited for moments like this to tell people about it.
And you know how they said, how if someone loves you by their praise report. In my mind, I'm like, I wish I had a round of applause button, some audio. So just because I don't, here we go. Oh, yes, sir. Lisa, you said we are alive, and that ain't enough.
That's not enough, Charlie. That's not. First of all, I'm gonna take a pause. I've never had nobody get up and do a backflip for me, so you just made history on my platform too.
Yes, sir. My bad. Forgot a little
I appreciate that though. No, but it's true. I'm just like being alive is the low hanging fruit because like being alive is a blessing, right? Like we didn't even give ourselves that, right? And so if God gave us the blessing of being alive, like go a step further and honor the blessing, like give him a return on his investment in you. He invested in you again today. That's crazy to me. Like every day, like God, you invested in me again. So the least I could do is give him a return on his investment. You know what I'm saying? And so every day, be purposeful, be meaningful, do something to impact the lives of somebody else, learn something new, invest in yourself. Like go squat, go eat a plant, go drink a water, go give somebody a hug, go tell somebody you love them. Like be obedient. You know what I mean? Just give God a return on his investment because we're taking credit for being alive as if we had much to do with it. That's my issue. Right. And so radical obedience for me is just about giving God a return on his investment.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just coming into the room, Lisa Smith is here with the good word. So something for me that captivated. Okay, I got to tell people how we met. I'm from a very, 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 very minute, small town, and I met this guy. He's a mutual friend of ours, and we started talking about working out, fitness, wellness, spiritual health, the thought, the mind. He's like, I have a partner that you should meet. So he sent me your profile, and immediately I'm like, oh, who is this? Where have you been all of my life? And I was so grateful just from the content that you was putting out, the information, who you show up as a person.
Yeah.
And like I just been following you, the information that you put out. And then we supposed to have a live. We supposed to schedule a live that I had to cancel.
Mhm.
And this is what I do with the live. I was doing some traveling. I traveled into Atlanta. I moved out of Atlanta and I traveled in just to visit. I didn't tell nobody I was there that night. It was simply for me to be with myself, take myself out on a date, enjoy my time.
Yeah.
And when I look to the right, and Lisa's not from Atlanta either. She traveled to Atlanta randomly. We both was in the same vegan restaurant. And she was like, Charlie. And I was like, oh. So I knew that this was divine when that
That was
happened. So
crazy.
I'm
That was
just
a
so grateful.
crazy day. That was because I just knew that you were from Atlanta when I saw you. So I'm just like, there's no way. So when you were like, no, I'm just in town too. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It was just, yeah, it was dope. So like you said, it was definitely divine.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So something that I love most about you is your words, like your words shift.
Mhm.
And you can tell when something's genuine or if someone's just saying something that they've been told or that they read. But every word that comes out of your mouth is shifting. So I had to say that again. So one page is quotes that you said. So I
This is
want to
crazy.
read quotes that you said out of your mouth. And you just say whatever comes to your heart or your mind about,
Oh God, this is so fun.
oh,
Okay, let's do it.
so many quotes. I'm like, which one do I even want to choose
Oh
with? Oh,
God.
I'm going
Okay.
all in with this
Okay.
one. Lisa, favorite. Lisa's favorite quotes is, "Try not to eat no bullshit today." Respect. Oh,
Respectfully. Respectfully. 100%. Try not to eat no bullshit today. 100%.
no one's talking about this. No one's saying that to us.
No, everybody's being all, the corporate speak, being all politically correct. Y'all know what it is. I'm not about to spell out. Y'all know what bullshit y'all eat.
Yeah, just
Try not to eat no bullshit today. Straight up. Yeah. I said it all.
mm,
I said
yeah.
it all. Yeah.
Okay,
That's it. It's that simple. It's that simple and it's that hard. You feel me?
for sure.
It's my
Yeah.
favorite, Charlie. Because people just need to be reminded, like, quit playing with this thing. Like,
Mm,
quit acting like this little bit doesn't matter. Quit acting like everything should be in moderation, no matter how toxic it is. Like, stop
mm,
telling yourself stories to make yourself feel good about not having self control, self discipline. It's like stop. Like, if you're not gonna have self control and you're not gonna have discipline, that's cool. But stop telling yourself stories to justify your bad behavior. Like you overweight, like you on medic, like you don't feel well, you chronically fatigued, you don't sleep well. Why would you keep putting the same mess in your body that caused it?
you know,
Like make it make
you
sense.
know you don't need it.
You don't. Like who are we joking? So let's sum it all up. We don't have a whole lot of time, and you got a short attention span. Let's sum it all up. Try not to eat no bullshit today. That's it. That's
Yeah,
so we could both can keep our day moving. I ain't got to spend time being irritated. You ain't got to spend time being
yeah,
disobedient. Everybody
yeah.
can keep it pushing. Hmm.
Okay, so if someone needed a shift or needed a drastic change,
Yeah. Yeah.
what is your inspiration to do so?
Okay. This is a good question. Okay. If somebody needed a shift to make a drastic change, the first thing, if I was being politically correct and I had my coaching hat on, I would remind them that being unwell is not a victimless crime. Right. So just be careful when making the assumption that when we don't take care of ourselves, we're only hurting ourselves. Right. Because we don't have a problem with hurting ourselves. Right. But typically the average person who has empathy has a problem with their behavior affecting others. So the perspective shift here is my lack of discipline in my health is affecting others. That's the belief that I need you to adopt in order to do the thing that's required.
Mm,
That when I don't take care of myself, there very much is a very real, tangible trickle down effect of being unwell. Unwell can be as extreme as being on medication and having to have procedures, and it can be as mild as just having headaches every day, having stomach pain every day. It could be an undiagnosed condition, but you're unwell. You're not optimal, however it looks. And stop thinking that you can take your time to address that's not priority. Any part of you that is unwell needs to become priority, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, right? The demise of so many relationships, the reason some of the best ideas are in the graveyard is because the people who were the original owners of them were unwell, right? And so that means they were not capable of executing on that idea or bringing that thing to fruition because mentally, physically, or emotionally, they were not equipped. And so the thing that people tend to believe is that they can sacrifice their health in pursuit of other things. And we call it a sacrifice. We call it a compromise. But anything that compromises your health is a bad decision. It's not a sacrifice. So people will spend years working in their career or raising their family and putting everything before their health, and they call it a sacrifice. That means you don't understand the definition of a sacrifice. You should never sacrifice something that is at the root of allowing you to do everything else. It's just, at that point, it's just a bad decision. So that would be the first thing I would tell somebody who needs to make a major life transformation like this, is like your perspective of the value of your health is skewed. So you need to get realigned because you misunderstood the assignment. If you thought God wanted you to work and sacrifice your relationship with him on Sundays, if you thought you were supposed to work and skip your workouts, if you thought that drive-throughs were the godsend and were created for you to eat convenient food as you work all these jobs to take care of these kids, you misunderstood the assignment. You know, so that would be the first thing I would tell people is, you know, like just realign and better understand that we really only get one shot at this thing, and God deserves a return on his investment in you.
It was the last.
Stop gassing me up, Charlie. Stop it.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, here's that commercial break. Everyone, welcome to the Talk That Talk podcast. We're in here with Lisa Smith, and she's telling it like it is. Have you heard the saying that belief is a doubt?
No.
So when you believe something, it's off a premise of I think, I hope, or this is what I learned and I believe it to be true. But when you know something, you know something. It's spiritually divine. It's set in. It's unshakable. You can't move somebody out of something when they know something.
That's good.
So one thing that I know is, since I've been an athlete all my life, martial arts nonstop, I know how I felt when I was operating in that programming of eating all those things. And like when I made that switch, and I know how I feel. Yeah. Most people don't know how it feels when you are healthy, in your light, in your energetic, and there's no headaches. People don't know how that light body feels. So as a health coach, what's something that you could tell people that they can expect to feel mentally, physically, spiritually when you make those changes?
That's so good. I say something similar, which is most people have never been introduced to the optimal version of themselves. Right. Come on now. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, right? So you're so spot on with that. You're so spot on. Most people have not been introduced to the most optimal version of themselves. And so ignorance is bliss because they don't know what they're missing out on. They don't know. For many of us, since a very young age, we've been putting poison in our body. A lot of us, unfortunately, our parents started pouring it into us first. By the time we were of age to feed ourselves, we already had the addiction. So most people literally have never been introduced to the optimal version of themselves. And that's and so most people will tend to believe if I'm able to get through my to-do list for the day, like if I'm able to get up and go to work like I planned, if I'm able to, run errands for my family, if I'm able to, spend a little time with my family and get through all of that, then I'm well enough. Right? But we don't understand what optimization looks and feels like, because even the recommendations that are made by our federal government for what to eat and how many minutes to exercise are based on what they believe the average person is willing to do, not based on what's required to be optimal. So if they say something like 150 minutes of exercise per day, we think if I do that, I'm doing the thing. not realizing to optimize that, you have to go above and beyond that. If they say X number of fruits and vegetables per day, it's not based on what's optimal. It's based on their lack of belief in you to do anything more. And so what has happened, Charlie, is we've all, from a variety of entities, whether everything from government to our parents, we've all been given permission to be unwell. Like, people have normalized doing just enough. People have normalized giving ourselves grace. People have normalized being on one medication. We look, and when I say normalize, it's either verbally with permission, it's through recommendations that are trickled down from legislation, or it's through example. Like, if everybody in your family is overweight, or everybody in your family has heart disease and diabetes, you start saying, what? It runs in my family, which does what? Let you off the hook and put your DNA on the hook. Your genes ain't responsible for that mess. So everybody around you has given you permission to be so unwell that you, and nobody has given you permission to be optimal. Nobody. And so that's why I always try and present with the spirit of excellence, because somebody got to start giving y'all permission to be better than mediocre. You know what I mean? Mediocre means you live in the middle. And let's be clear, I'm not suggesting that everybody needs to be at the top of their game, that everybody needs to be top of the class. I'm just saying, if your desires for your life and your legacy are bigger than how you're currently performing, then you need to increase your performance. So what I'm saying is, there are some people who are settled, like 10 toes down in mediocrity, and they are happy. I'm not talking to those people. Like, you get to settle. Just make sure that the vision that you have for your life and your mind matches your external effort. If you want something more, everything in moderation is not a adage that you can live by. If you want something more, just being on one medication is good enough. It's not something you can live by. If you want something more, only being a few pounds overweight is not something that you can accept. So just make sure that your desires internally matches your effort externally. That's it. But there are people who are capable of more in life and whatever, and they're not given it, and that's okay, as long as they say it's okay. But some of us, we have the nerve to be dissatisfied and still want to operate below our potential. That doesn't make sense. So stop blaming all this nonsense on your genes and DNA and everybody else, and thinking it's okay just because everybody around you is slightly overweight. You look to other people and say stuff like, I'm not that bad. So being bad, it's not wrong with being bad, as long as you're not that bad. Like, make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? You stop comparing down and start comparing up. If you start comparing to people who are at the top of their game, you all of a sudden that bad. You're the person. You're the problem. So we just got to hold ourselves to a higher standard.
You are, woo! Everybody, if you're just coming into the room, Lisa Smith, thank you so much. No better way I would have loved to have kicked off Women's History Month.
Am I kicking it off? Am I the first one?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir.
I never knew. Hey.
We want it any other way. 2 words you use: standard and comparison.
Yeah.
And what came to my mind was, when you know, like there's a family or whoever that runs more stuff in the government than the government itself, which means the curriculums, the food pyramids, the things that we're taught, how we're supposed to compare ourselves to a BMI or a weight or the food pyramid. Like, when you said DNA, do you go as deep as saying the people that they created this standard for may not be you? Like, our bodies are different, our uric acid is different, our molecular structure, our teeth is different. We're not supposed to be eating the same things, but everyone's saying you should be in this box doing the same thing. Where are you when it comes to that? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course, everybody is, for sure. But I think you have to graduate to that. Like, so unfortunately, and a lot of people, as they're entering into this health space, and for me, into this plant-based space, whole food, plant-based vegan space, which is a whole nother animal, before they can even get to the stage where they have to recognize that they're different, their body is different, their makeup is different and everything, they have to do the basics. Like for me, talking that language where you're customizing things based on your unique profile is not the elementary level of health. I think you have to graduate to that. I believe there's some foundational stuff that everybody should be doing. It's why I get frustrated. Like soon as people find out that, you know, I'm a plant-based health coach, I'm a vegan coach, they think all I care about is everybody being vegan. And I'm like, no, before you can even talk this talk with me, there's some stuff universally that you need to be doing that we should all be doing, like drinking water and not eating sugar and not eating a bunch of processed refined food. And you know what I mean? Like your relationship with food needs to be worked on before we can even entertain whether or not vegan is for you versus not for you based on your makeup. You see what I'm saying? So
Sure.
I do believe there's some foundational stuff that we all will benefit from in almost the exact same way before we get into the unique intricacies of everything.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In my mind, I'm thinking about more of these quotes. But before I have you jumping all over the place, is there anything else that comes to your heart or your mind with the topics that we spoke on so far that you might want to go in more depth or elaborate on? Or you
No,
good to?
I feel complete. Yeah.
Oh, complete.